Hi, everybody. Brian Rose here, reviews editor at NintendoWorldReport.com. And I'm here today with Neil Ronahan, and we are going to talk about Fast Racing Neo, the review for Wii U. So, first off, let's talk about the score and your brief thoughts on the game, like, overall. What are your thoughts?
I gave Fast Racing Neo, developed by Shinen Games. They've been doing a lot of cool stuff on Nintendo systems for a while, like the Nano Assault games were all them. They've also done like the Jet Rocket games, which were okay, not great, but okay. But Fast Racing Neo is far and away, I think probably, I don't know if I want to say the best thing they've ever done, but it's damn close. I think that Nano Assault was really good, especially the one that came out on the Wii U eShop launch. But Fast Racing Neo is spectacular. I gave it a 9 out of 10. And really, I mean, the best way to sum it up is that it's the F-Zero game that you've been wanting for, 12 years? Since GX came out.
Yeah.
This is the closest to a new F-Zero game that we've had in over a decade.
Yeah, and everything I've seen from the game, there's a lot of F-Zero callbacks.
Yeah, so, it has the exact same announcer.
Oh, really?
As F-Zero GX.
You reached first place!
Wow, I didn't know that.
And he says a lot of dumb things. It's good. Like, with great speed comes great responsibility is something that comes out of his mouth, and I love it so much. But that's probably the only bit of quote-unquote personality in the game. And that's kind of my one knock against it. And I guess it really is, when it kind of comes down to it, outside of there is a limit to this game. There's 16 tracks, 10 vehicles, which is totally fine for a game that is coming out at $14.99. I guess if you were to compare it to like a full price game, then yeah, that's a less content. But for a $15 game, that's fine with me. That's less than $1 per track.
That's one of my questions about the lack of personality that you described in the review. Are the settings just bland, or?
The settings look fantastic, and that's mainly because the graphics are so strong. And you do have a lot of wide variety of environments that you're likely looking at as you hear us talk. There's some areas where it's icy and the road's slick and it looks like you're in a blizzard. There's ones where there's avalanches. There's ones where there's fire coming out of areas. There's beautiful cities, and it really, a lot of those locales look like it could, like, the city locales look like you could have been like, yeah, this is Mute City, and no one would have known the difference.
Yeah.
But, the lack of personality kind of comes to that all the vehicles are named after companies. So it's not like, in F-Zero, for example, you have the Blue Falcon. You have, you have the Blood Falcon. You have Samurai Goro's Fire Stingray. And you have all these different characters. You've got Zoda, you've got James McCloud. There's all this kind of mystique and intrigue between all these characters, even if ultimately the story in F-Zero isn't that great. But it's a vibrant world. And in Fast Racing Neo, what you have are a bunch of companies. Like there's like Kumagori Industries, or like Spark Unlimited, which I think is the name of a developer. It's also the name of a vehicle in the game. And that kind of just makes it feel very hollow. And it doesn't detract from how the racing feels, because the racing's a lot of fun. But the lack of personality is just kind of disappointing, because I kind of wish there was more to it than just, here are companies, here are cars.
We keep talking about F-Zero, and that's the game that keeps coming up. So there's a lot of similarities. I haven't played the game yet, but I've seen tons of similarities in a level design and all that. So what are some of the aspects that make it different than F-Zero? And are they for the better?
In the racing, I guess the main differences are just in the racing. The one mechanic is that there is a phasing mechanic that, if you're familiar with the game, like, the comparison for me is Ikaruga, which is a shooter in which you would go between two different colors and kind of like, you would be able to absorb bullets from if you were that color ship. In this game, the way it works is that there are boost pads. There are blue ones, there are orange ones. You can, at the click of a button, switch between blue and orange and the color of your vehicle. When you're blue, you go on the blue boost pad, you get a boost. If you are orange and on the blue boost pad, then you slow down. It's a pretty neat mechanic, and it makes you kind of see the best way to go through a race. It makes it a little more difficult to kind of just attack a race and like succeed on the first lap, you kind of need that first lap to be like, all right, this is the flow of it. That's where shortcuts are. This is the optimal path. And then, practice makes perfect. The other thing is that there are no items or anything. There is no spin move like you have in F-Zero. There are like boost pickups that you collect as you drive around, and those are tied to your boost meter, which, once again, click of a button, use your boost. I guess probably the most F-Zero thing about it, outside of the whole fast racing futuristic stuff, is there is a mode called Hero Mode, which is balls hard, and only if you master the tracks will you even see this mode. But Hero Mode kind of goes the full F-Zero, where instead of respawning when you blow up like you would in every other race in Fast Racing Neo, your shield is your boost meter, which is very much like F-Zero, where you have that meter that you can use as a boost, and if you lose that meter, then you blow up. And that's the way Hero Mode works, which is pretty fun.
Okay. So, does this feel like a game that would stand on its own with the content that's there? Do you think it might be better with downloadable content? What kind of future would you see with this game going forward?
I mean, there's an online mode, which we'll kind of see how many people come out when it comes out. From the little that I've played so far, it runs fine. And it's 8-player online, so that's pretty cool. There is no options for, like, playing with friends, which is a little disappointing. But that could be something that maybe they could address in an update. I mean, maybe there is room for DLC for this game where they add more races. I would assume if they were to do that, it wouldn't be free. And I don't think there would be an issue with, like, paying, $5 to $10 for, 4 to 8, like 2 more cups or something like that. Like, that seems fair. And I kind of hope for that. I'd love to see more fast racing in any way, shape, or form after playing a bunch of Fast Racing Neo. And I'm excited to get some friends over, play some local multiplayer, even if, when you got 4-player split screen, the silky smooth 60 frames per second does take a little bit of a hit, but that's kind of to be expected. I think it's unrealistic to expect a game to look as good as this and then run 4 instances of that good-looking game at a very smooth frame rate.
Would you say that this is one of the better looking games on the, just as far as the eShop game goes? Because that's what I think.
I think the only comparison would be other games from Shinen that are Wii U eShop games. Like, for example, Nano Assault Neo. Man, they really like Neo. Okay, yeah, because it was Nano Assault Neo. As far as Wii U eShop games, I can't really think of any competitors. Yeah. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't stack up to, like, Xenoblade or even Mario Kart 8. Yeah. Like, those games are leagues better. They also have a staff that is probably minimum 10 to 15 times bigger than the staff that worked on this game. I looked at the credits. I think about 3 to 4 people worked on this game on a full-time basis.
Oh, wow.
Which is incredible when you think of how good it looks, how polished it looks.
So, any other thoughts on Fast Racing Neo? What would you like to... Well, we already went over that, but is there anything else you'd like to say about the game?
I hope that Nintendo sees this game. I would assume that probably Nintendo of Europe has been working closely with Shinen. They're a European company. And I hope that at some meeting, at some chance, like, Shibata or Reggie or someone is just like, hey, you guys aren't using F-Zero, let's give it to these guys and just give them like 2 to 3 years.
Do you think that a future F-Zero game might come along if this game does really well?
I don't know, because the whole storyline with F-Zero has always been, we don't know what we'd do with another one. That's what Miyamoto has gone on the record saying is, we just don't have a fresh idea for F-Zero. I don't think you need a fresh idea for F-Zero. I think you just make a new damn F-Zero, and that's a fresh enough idea. I do think that maybe, just maybe if Fast Racing is a success, and you do look at Mario Kart, where they did have F-Zero DLC, that was really good, and as far as I could tell, very well received, and seemed successful for Nintendo, then maybe we will see Captain Falcon hopping in the Blue Falcon for some more racing in some form or another. Awesome.
So that is Fast Racing Neo. It's out on Thursday, I believe?
Yes, on December 10th.
December 10th. Alright. $14.99. And that'll do it for us.